Welcome to the USA Hockey Next Gen podcast, where the future of the game takes center ice. Join us as we spotlight rising stars, innovative programs, and the voices shaping tomorrow's hockey community. From first strides to big dreams, this is where the next generation begins.
Welcome back, everybody, to the USA Hockey Next Generation podcast. I'm Lyndsey Fry, and I'm here with my co-host, Drew Shore. Drew, how we doing?
I'm doing great. We're back in the swing of things. Christmas vacation is over. It felt like it was about 3 months long, but we had a great time, and kids are back in school, and we're getting back to our routine. How are you doing?
I'm good. I am in major coaching mode right now. It's coming up on the end of the USA Hockey season, so just trying to drive through that, get my team ready to go, and it's been a lot of fun. So it's it tis the season, right?
How's the squad doing this year?
Pretty good. You wouldn't know it from the record, but I've told them since the beginning, at the end of the day, we're building towards something, and I don't care so much about the results until we get to districts, and our goal is getting to nationals. So it's learning, and then boom, we're going to attack and get it done. And I feel like we're right on the cusp of being ready to do that. So feeling good about the squad. They're having fun and they're not burnt out, which is, I think, probably the most important thing this time of year.
Yeah, and speaking of burnout, I've always been so impressed by athletes across all sports that have so much longevity. I'm super excited to talk to one of the faces of women's hockey today, in a former teammate of yours, Kendall Coyne. She's coming up on her 4th Olympics, which is just incredible to me.
Yeah, super, super excited to talk to Kendall. She's somebody that I've known since I was a teenager. I think the first time we ever met in person was my first year of USA Hockey National Development Camp, and we played a couple years of U18s together, and then, of course, eventually played on the 2014 Olympic team together, and have known her a long, long time. She is probably one of the most committed individuals I've ever known, and I think that goes into that longevity you were talking about. We both know how hard it is, the daily grind, to put yourself through what it takes to be at the peak of your game year over year. And she just has that mindset. She has that mentality. And not only that, in and amongst training to be the very best that she can be, she's also been just such a leader in the growth of girls and women's hockey, the PWHL, making sure that, we as USA Hockey continue to elevate our game for the national team programs, and just really, really excited to hear everything she has to say.
Yeah, and I thought her moment at the NHL skills competition a couple years ago was super cool. And I just think for the growth of women's hockey, more athletes doing stuff like that and taking advantage of those opportunities was awesome. And I just couldn't believe how fast she was. I mean, I think I'd still be playing if I could skate like she did.
Yeah, no kidding. And the fact that she's half my size and is able to just skate circles around me. We used to do this drill where you started from a dead stop, and it was just a race to the puck to try to win it to your teammate. And I just, what am I going to do? Go get out of line and go with somebody else? I got lined up with her a bunch of times, and it was just sometimes you got to just accept, you got to play the loss on that one, because there was no way I was beating her with those first 3 steps. It's unbelievable. And I think just the way that she was able to make such a statement in and amongst all the NHL players on the national stage with so many people watching and paying attention, really that moment was so transformative for women's hockey. I have chills right now even just thinking about it. And I think it's really cool. When you look at her career, and we'll talk about all of it today with her, but when you look at her career, when she started in 2014 on the Olympic team, that was the last time the NHL guys were in there. And then during that time, she does the NHL skills competition, beats some of the NHL guys in the speed. I'm not going to say who, because he's a friend of mine, but he beats somebody. And now the NHL guys are back on the Olympic stage with the women. And I think it's just going to be a really cool difference maybe in just the way that when we look back at 2014 when she started and how women's hockey was viewed then to where we are now and how it's viewed from a national standpoint. To me, it's night and day, and I'm just so excited for the Olympics coming up and excited for her to bear down and hopefully win here in her 4th one.
Yeah, and I also think too, everything she's been doing off the ice has been great for the growth of the game. I mean, she's doing commercials with David Pasternak. She recently became a mom. She just released a new book, and I'm excited to dive into everything with her.
Yeah, I admittedly, I have the book. I need to read it. I think this is going to be my inspiration leading up to the games. But she's a great person, great teammate, will push herself, and just leads by example. So before we get to the conversation, Drew, let's just, for anybody that's been living under a rock and has never seen all the great things about Kendall Coyne as a player that we're talking about, let's go check out a video of all of her highlights throughout her incredibly illustrious career.
Nobody back, and Coyne on the breakaway. Score! Hat trick for Kendall Coyne.
Coyne Schofield, sharp pass far side. Coyne Schofield scores. That was all Captain America. 5 in the tournament now. Feed, cross ice, couldn't convert. Puck came back to 26, and it's 4-zip.
Kendall Coyne Schofield lets it go. She scores! Kendall Coyne Schofield does it again. The United States leads 4-2. In her mom era, Kendall Coyne Schofield is electric. Well, she's been buzzing all tournament long. And the backhand, Hillary Knight off the post. Oh my goodness, without a stick, Kendall Coyne Schofield completes it. Her second of the night. USA have an insurance goal.
Kendall Coyne Schofield, thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
Thanks for having me, Drew. Good to be here.
Where are you at right now?
I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay, awesome. I actually tried texting your head coach for some either funny dirt on you or anything, but he gave me nothing, talked about how great you were, and just said you're all business and getting ready to go to your 4th Olympics.
I heard he gave me a little bit of dirt on you though. Kind of backfired on you.
Oh boy. There's a lot of that. Maybe I shouldn't have texted him. But when do you guys head over to Italy?
January 29th.
Okay, awesome. Now, how many games do you guys have left until you go over?
3.
3. Okay. Now, where I want to start with this is growing up, you played for the Chicago Mission. It seems like that development program on both the women's and the men's side has developed so many great players who are either in the PWHL, the NHL today. What makes that program so unique?
I think growing up, it was just being surrounded by good people, good players, and good coaches. Whether for me, I was, had great coaches, whether it was with the girls' side or the boys' side. I remember we had our skills coach, Kenny McCudden. He's an assistant coach with the Washington Capitals, a long time with the Columbus Blue Jackets, getting sessions with him. Like, who's 13 years old, 14 years old, and gets multiple sessions like that, each week. And, I just think there was an emphasis on development. And I think being surrounded by good players day in and day out to practice with and against. And then the competition was obviously very solid each week, whether we were going to Detroit or Toronto, wherever we were playing. And then the competition within the state of Illinois is incredible as well. So I just think there were a lot of opportunities to get better.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you've been kind of known throughout your entire career for your speed. Obviously, skating's become such an important component of the game today. We have a ton of young listeners who are listening to this podcast. What would your advice be to a young player who's really working hard to try and get faster?
It's to be fearless. I think you have to be fearless on your edges. You have to, push yourself outside of your comfort zone, get comfortable being uncomfortable. I don't know if you saw McDavid's goal last night where he was his assist last night where he was on the wall. He was on one foot. He did a spin and threw it to the back door. And I think it was Podkolzin scored. Like, it's just like you see the way he's on his edges. And it's like, you got to work on that. Like, it doesn't just happen in a game, and it's like getting comfortable on being uncomfortable on your edges, and working on it. I think when I was little and playing in the house league in Orland Park, we would have power skating once a week on Wednesday nights. And I think every kid was like, no. And for me, I was like, yes, I love power skating. It's like, one of my favorite days of the week was when we get to do power skating. So I've always just loved, testing my edges, being on my edges, working on my skating. And obviously it's been a strength of my game for a long time.
Yeah. And I think kind of watching your development path, as soon as kind of your other skills were able to kind of, I would say, catch up with your speed, it really allowed you during your high school years to take off. And I'm curious, as a girl who probably had the ability to go to any collegiate program in the country, how'd you end up at Northeastern and what was your college experience like there?
Yeah, I think, a long time ago when I went through the college recruiting process, I think the reality for me, unlike a lot of the boys that I grew up with and seeing them commit to make their college decision or junior hockey decision, whatever it may have been, for us, we couldn't make a living playing the game. And so for me, it was what school is going to set me up to make a living not playing the game because I don't have that opportunity. And the education that I received at Northeastern was second to none, getting a bachelor's degree, getting a master's degree, the co-op program that it had to offer. I was able to do an internship with the Chicago Blackhawks after the 2014 Olympics through the Northeastern Co-op program, which was amazing. And obviously, Hockey East is a fantastic league. I love the coaching staff there. Head coach Flint is still there. So there was just so much to offer. But I think when I was going through the process, on the forefront of my mind was what's going to set me up to get a job after hockey. And it can still be in hockey, but it's not going to be playing hockey because that opportunity did not exist then. So that was really what led me down the route to selecting Northeastern University.
Did you ever think when you were going to school and college, you'd one day be an author and write a new book?
I had a goal to do it. I think it was just another area in which I saw the opportunity to close a gap. I think, being a young kid, I always looked for hockey books. I looked for hockey books that had women in it. And it was hard to find them. I remember Angela Ruggiero's book, Manon Rium's book. And then from there wasn't really any other books. And you can only do, your book project on the same book so many times until they tell you got to pick another book. So it was always a goal of mine. It was special to see it through.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, first off, I'd love to know, I love the kind of the inspiration behind it. What would you say? What's it called? What are some of the key messages for readers?
Yeah, the book is As Fast as Her. It came out in 2022 and just recently re-released it with an afterword that talks about the pro hockey development, the PWHL, and the work that it took to help get the league to where it is today. And I would say it's a book that takes you through my life and the lessons that I've learned throughout the years, whether it's, in hockey, out of hockey, in school. And, each chapter starts with a golden coin, which is a tip, something that, a message that I take with me that I learned and hopefully can help the reader as well.
I love that. Now, one of the things in sports I don't think gets talked about enough is how becoming a parent has a drastic, obviously, change on your perspective, not only on sports, but on life. I've talked a lot about how when I was still playing and had my first daughter, it was a huge transitional shift for me. You recently became a new mom. How has that kind of shaped your perspective on hockey and life right now?
Yeah, there's nothing that has shaped me more in my life. There's nothing that has made me a better hockey player than becoming a mom. I think, my patience, my perspective, I don't have the time to overthink a game or a practice. I come home and, it's diapers, it's food, it's play, whatever just happened at the rink, it doesn't matter because you come home and you're mom and that's all that matters. And so I think, just over the last 2.5 years, it's been such a special journey to be able to, play the game at the highest level alongside my son. And for him to know that, he was the reason mom kept going. He wasn't the reason mom stopped. And I know he loves it. He loves my teammates. He cheers them on. Sometimes I have to convince him, like, you want to play hockey like Kelly Panic? And not like mommy, but like Kelly Panic. He's like, yeah, Kelly Panic. And he loves our goalies. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, no, it's been extremely rewarding and special. And, it's something that I'll cherish forever.
I can't imagine there's anything more enjoyable for you after a great game, after a big win, having him come in the locker room, run around, cause chaos with all your teammates.
It is. I mean, and I think of, 2 years ago when the PWHL started, I brought him here to Minnesota by myself. He was 6 months old. My husband was still, he was playing football at the time in Detroit. And so I brought him here, and I look back and I'm like, wow, that was crazy. Like, if I can do that, I can do anything. And, it was hard being here, two dogs, a 6-month-old baby, breastfeeding, really being a professional hockey player for the first time. I know I was, older in my career, but really it was the first time that we had a league in which we were, treated as professional. And I had to move to a market. I had to move here to Minnesota to, go to practice every day. We've never had that before, other than when we were in residency with USA Hockey. And then predating that, it was college hockey. So it was a big change. It was hard, but he loves coming to the rink. He loves my teammates. When he's not at the rink, he wakes up. He goes, "Can we watch hockey?" So he loves it.
It's funny. I was just thinking about him, and whether he goes into hockey or whatever sport he goes into and ends up playing, he's going to not be short on athletic genes between you and your husband.
We'll see. And if he likes music, art, or something completely opposite of hockey and football and sports, that's okay too. I think for both of us, we just hope he finds something he loves, because that's ultimately how both of us have been able to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish. Is we loved our sports. We loved going to the rink. We loved going to the field. Our parents didn't make us play sports. Our parents didn't make us work hard. We loved it and embraced it. And we just hope he finds something that he loves, and it's something that he wants to do the rest of his life. And for us, that was hockey and football.
Now, with him being so young, are you planning on bringing him over to this year's games? And this is what I really want to get into during this interview today. This is going to be your fourth Olympics. And what's kind of the plan with him? Is he coming over? Is he staying home? What's that going to look like?
No, he's coming. The goal was always, if I'm there, he's there. So my family's coming over, including our son. So they'll be there the whole time, which is extremely exciting.
Now, something about these short tournaments that everyone talks about is just how important team chemistry and leadership is. This is going to be your fourth Olympics. How do you think your leadership has evolved to become what it is today from your first Olympics a couple years ago?
I think your form of leadership is what you've learned from the leaders who have come before you. And I think about the incredible leaders that I've had in the US program, and how I've been able to take bits and pieces of their form of leadership and evolve it into my form of leadership. And I think it's the same thing in coaching. You think of like great coaches, and where did they learn their style? How did they learn what they've learned? And a lot of it is learning it from those who impacted them, who influenced them. And I think of what has influenced me as a leader are those that have led me to where I am today. So I think of a lot of the great leaders that I've had in the US program, and that's what's helped evolve and create my leadership style. But I will say, when you're on Team USA, and Drew, you played with the US team, it's a team full of leaders. Everyone has led in one way or another. They've led on teams. They've led themselves to get to where they are in this journey. So it's a team full of leaders, and that's why it's arguably the best team in the world.
What do you think you mentioned, no one gets to your level of success without a ton of great mentors, leaders. What do you think the best piece of advice one of these leaders has ever given to you would be?
Ooh, hard question, because there's been so much. I'm old.
Kenny didn't tell you I'd be
Man.
coming at you with hard questions. He probably thought they'd all be softballs.
Geez, I think one. No, there's a lot, but I think when it comes down to these tournaments, they're sprints. They're not marathons. You look at a PWHL season, an NHL season, a college season, a youth hockey season. That's a marathon, right? Like these international tournaments, they're sprints to the finish line. They're sprints to win a gold medal. And I think the best teams I've been on are the ones where everyone embraces their role, no matter what your role is. I think the reality is on a national team, everyone's been on the first line, everyone's been on the power play, everyone's been on the penalty kill, everyone's been the starting goaltender. But that's not going to be the case at the Olympic Games or at the World Championship. Your role is going to change, and you're going to have to evolve and adjust and adapt to that role. And the team that can do that the best, and everyone really embraces that role and owns their role, whatever it may be, is the team that has success. And know that your role may not be as pretty as the role that it was before you got there. You may not be on the power play, you may not be on the penalty kill, you may not be on the first, second, or third line. But you know what? You're going to contribute to the success of this team by how quickly you buy into whatever role is being asked of you.
Yeah, I think for me that as a fan now, that's one of my favorite parts about watching this elite level of competition is, like you said, you see guys who are first line NHL all-stars on the men's side who are playing penalty kill, playing fourth line, blocking shots. And I think that's why I'm so excited to watch this year's games, because it's the one time where athletes kind of, regardless of their normal role, are willing to do anything for their country and the name on the front of their jersey.
Yes, well said.
My brother Nick loves to talk about he's an Olympian. I've come up with the term Philympian because he played in the Olympic Games when NHL players were not allowed to go. But regardless, he said one of the best experiences for him was just the camaraderie around all the USA teams, regardless of their sport, and how much fun he had going to other events. With you being in this kind of circuit for so long, are you pretty close with some other athletes in other sports? And if so, what other events outside of hockey are you excited to check out?
Yes, he is absolutely right. And I think that was actually one of the harder parts about Beijing was there was such limited access to be able to really develop that camaraderie because of COVID and the social distancing and not being able to really go to other events and meet other people. And you were kind of just, tied up in your room for safety reasons. So I'm really excited to be able to talk to the other athletes, hang out with the other athletes, hang out in it's called the Arc in the Olympic Village, in our village, where we watch the games, and it's the Olympic broadcasting system. So there's no broadcasting. So if you don't know the rules, we just make up our own rules. We're like, that was awesome. And then they'll show like red and we're like, oh, maybe it wasn't awesome, but it looked great to us, watching the other sports and stuff. So super excited to be able to experience that camaraderie again and hang out with the other athletes, just learn about their journey, what it took for them to get to where they are today. And I'm looking forward to watching figure skating and speed skating the most.
I have a question for you. Did you ever think about doing some speed skating? I mean, with your speed, like how far away are you from being able to get in the mix there?
Oh, I mean, probably really far, but funny story, and I still regret it to this day. My brother played for Wisconsin AAA, and at the time had a relationship with Bonnie Blair, and Bonnie offered to put me on speed skates. And I was really young because he was playing at the Pettit in Wisconsin, and I didn't really want to wear tight clothes. And I saw the suits that speed skaters skate in. And I remember saying to my mom, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because I thought I'd have to wear like that tight suit. And so I didn't end up doing it. And I still regret it so much to this day that I could have got a speed skating lesson from Bonnie Blair. Like, what an idiot I am, because I didn't want it. And she would have never made me wear the suit. It was just putting on the skates. But I was really young. I was probably 10. And here we are. So I still regret it.
Now, with only being a few weeks out, I know that on the men's side, one of the hardest things is there's so much competition from some of these other countries now. What do you guys think your biggest challenge is this year going in to win a gold medal?
Obviously, you want parity, right? You want competition, you want tight games, you want competitive balance, you want the fans to turn on the TV and question who's going to win. And that's what makes it fun to turn on. But I think, our biggest challenge is focusing on ourselves. It's focusing on our style of play, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish night in and night out. Obviously it's winning, but it's the way we want to play. And I think it's getting better throughout each game of the tournament and focusing on us. there's a lot of distractions when it comes to the Olympic Games. But I think it's focusing on us. It's relying on each other, our systems, our style of play, our habits, our details, and letting the rest take care of itself.
Now, something else I'm curious about, with this just being your fourth Olympic Games, I mean, your career in general has been so impressive to me. And as someone who only played professional hockey for 11 years, like the amount of effort and sacrifice that it takes to go in from a longevity perspective, what's kind of a habit that you're going to incorporate into your game or your routine this year that you wish you probably would have picked up a little bit earlier in your career?
I think my process has evolved throughout my career. I think, my needs 10 years ago are vastly different than my needs now. If I could be 20 again, I'd be like, oh, I feel great. I'm like, what's being tired? What's being sore? But I think I think for me, it's focusing on my recovery, after a game. Um, and looking at the tournament throughout, like I said, that sprint of, when do I need a post game lift? When do I need to not do a post game lift? Making sure I'm cooling down the proper way, getting treatments, whether it's massage, whatever it may be, just constantly taking care of my body. I think is an important part of my process.
Okay, well, I'm excited to watch you guys. It's going to be a great tournament, but let's shift over a little bit now to the PWHL. You guys, since the league have started, have won back-to-back. Actually, I got a good one for you. I don't know if you know this, but tell your coach that you heard he leads all Avs alumni skates and career icings. So go there for him for me. But no,
he was giving it to you because you were putting star players on your team to beat what was he? Something like that.
Yeah.
You were rigging your team.
We had an Avs alumni versus DU alumni game this year at DU's campus, and it turned out to be an amazing event. Actually, Ted's son, Jack, played in the event for us, but I was in charge of being the general manager for DU, and I think that the DU coaches enjoyed this because obviously there was only a select few people who could play, so they could just pass all of the kind of alumni hatred off to me. But yes, Kenny and some of the other players did write me saying we had too many young NHL players on our roster and needed some 50 or 60-year-old alumni guys, but it was an awesome event.
Who won?
We won, of course. I was the general manager, so that's why he's saying that. But talk a little bit about your guys' team. Like, how have you guys, since this league just started, you guys have already won twice. It seems like overall there is a lot of parity among the league, but how have you guys just been able to get it done in back-to-back years?
If you look at back-to-back years, we got in by a point here, a point there. We were the 4 seed going in of 4. And then I think it's you turn the page and you realize, okay, new season, playoff hockey. It's a new season, right. Learn from the regular season, but we move on. It's a new season in terms of playoff hockey. And I think the one thing that doesn't get enough credit for our success is our goaltending tandem. We have 2 incredible goaltenders that it doesn't matter who starts on a given night, and that the ability to play both has given us so much life, not only throughout the regular season, but the playoffs too, because we have a fresh goaltender night in and night out.
Great goaltending can definitely compensate for average coaching, right?
I don't know. You have to bring that up with him.
Just kidding. He's the best. Now, something that's so cool about, like, it's just crazy. Like, he'll actually send me photos of like some of your guys' crowds, and like it seems like the amount of support you guys have been getting, regardless of where you play. Like, I know this year you guys are doing a lot of almost like pop-up cities that aren't necessarily either team's home game, but every single rink sells out. And I think watching women's sports to me from afar has been so cool. Like, you see the WNBA with Caitlin Clark, and what only a few players have really been able to put an entire league and sport kind of on their back. In terms of hockey, if there's a couple girls or one girl specifically that really has the ability to do this, that's an up and coming girl, who would some of those girls be in the sport?
This incoming draft class is unbelievable. I mean, Abby Murphy went viral it's not the first time, but just the other day with her nutmeg assists. She's coming out. KK Harvey at the University of Wisconsin's coming out. I mean, you look at the college players on our Olympic team. A lot of them are graduating seniors, and they'll be coming out into the PWHL. And so I'm really looking forward to this year's draft class. They're going to make a crazy impact right away, next year. So I think there's a lot of this draft class, I would say.
I'm sure for a player like you, it's been pretty funny because I doubt your first professional experience was anywhere near kind of the treatment, the salary, everything else that some of these girls are receiving now. But what's one area that you'd like to see your league still continue to spend more time on or develop?
I think it's just continuing to evolve. I think we have the foundation we've always dreamed of, and now it's just continuing to evolve from this foundation. I think I'll be long gone from the playing days at this point, but I can't wait for the day that we see a player sign $1 million contract. I know we're days away from that, but I'm confident it'll happen. And that'll be a really cool day.
That'll be an awesome day. And I mean, I have 2 young daughters, so they're not huge hockey players yet. I'm more of a dance dad right now, but we'll see where that goes.
Cool.
But now you have written a book. Your whole career has kind of been about breaking barriers for female hockey players. And I think a lot of people who might not have been aware of who you were, as soon as you did that NHL skills competition, that really kind of blew you up into becoming a household name. First off, how nervous for you were that? Because I know that seems like even people who are the fastest skaters are very nervous for those events.
Given the amount of time that I had to think about it, I couldn't be super nervous because it happened pretty quickly when Nathan MacKinnon was unable to skate, and I got the call from Patrick Burke saying, "Hey, you're going to skate in the fastest skater competition." A few hours before the event. So thankfully, I didn't have too much time to really think about it. I did get a little nervous when he said, "Okay, the fastest skater competition is first, and you're going first." And I'm like, "Oh, great!" But it's funny. I think it's just like playing hockey. I think for me, I kept telling myself, it's like riding a bike. You've been skating like this since you were 3 years old. Just go out there, move your feet, and don't fall, and you'll be fine. But it is funny. I've watched, I've seen it since. It's been, since 2019. So it's been many years since it happened. And I've seen the video, and watching the video, I'm like, get nervous. And I'm like, I know what happens, but I'm watching. I'm like, oh, this is so nerve wracking. But doing it, I wasn't as nervous as I have been since.
Well, you talk to a lot of people too. You're obviously going in an all-out sprint, but certain times the way that the kind of structure of the event is set up is you could be sitting around for a long time before getting thrown right up on the line and having to go.
Yeah, I think that's why the fastest skater is first, like of the entire event. But then of all the skaters, I had to go first. So that was a little nerve wracking.
That was great. No, that was so cool to watch you do that. And like I said, I mean, I think even for non-hockey fans, just the publicity and stuff. Now, a couple things I want to wrap up with here. You've done an amazing job as an athlete, kind of exposing yourself to so many, seems like other things, whether you're doing brand deals, commercials, you've kind of been everywhere. You inevitably are going to have to hang up your skates at some point soon, unless you're telling me you got one more Olympics after this one in you. But I don't know if that's the case. But no, what do you want to do when your career's over? Like, I'm sure you're going to have so many opportunities within hockey, outside of hockey. Like, how are you thinking about that?
I don't really know. I think right now I'm just living in the moment. I have a PWHL season that's not even half over yet. The Olympic Games are 2 weeks away. I got my hands full with, my son. I really haven't thought about what's next because I think I'm still here. I'm still in the now. And but I think at the end of the day, what's so important to me, and I hope I've shown this throughout my career, is just leaving the game better than when I found it. I think about the people who have created so many opportunities for me throughout my career, and if I can continue to give back and create even more opportunities for the next, that's really what's most important in this game. I think about the U18 Women's World Championship. Our U18 just won gold last night, which was so awesome to watch. And I think about I always say I hit the birth year jackpot in that. I was a 92, and that was the first year that started. And I think about the players who came before me and didn't have the opportunity to play in the U18s, and then whoever created that opportunity, I had that opportunity. camaraderie, and just, there's so many examples of that throughout my career. So it's just, continuing to give back, continuing to close the gap on, where opportunities are needed, and just encourage kids to get in the sport, because, like, I know, people who are listening to this that have been in sports know that, playing sports changes your life forever in the best way possible. And it's not about wins, losses, gold medals. Yes, while I'm in it, yes, but at the same time, it's meeting my best friends, it's traveling the world, it's getting an education, and it's so much that goes beyond the 200 by 80 foot 5 box that we love to play in. And so I think that's what's important. That's what I hope I always continue to do, no matter what's next. But just continuing to create those opportunities, for the next generation, because this sport has given me so much, and I know how much it can give the next.
You have definitely left this game much better than you found it. Now, I know for a fact, there's a lot of, anytime you're at a girls' hockey event, your jersey's everywhere. There's so many young girls who look up to you. What would your advice be to those young girls who want to play at a high level? Like, what do you think they should be focusing on?
First and foremost is having fun. It's not cliche. I think the reason I'm still playing this game today is because I love it and I have fun playing it. I think it depends what age you're talking about. Are we talking about 6-year-olds or are we talking about 13-year-olds?
Let's talk about 13-year-olds.
Yeah, I think, 13, like when you're a teenager, you're playing, whether U14, U16. I think there's a few things. I think one thing, people are always trying to find the best team, to play on the best team. And if the best team's not right in front of you, it's okay. It's okay to, if you're getting better, you're touching pucks, you're working at practice. That's okay too. You can be the best player on the worst team, and that you're still going to get better. If you're good, they'll find you. You don't have to always chase. Sometimes the answer is actually right in front of you. But what I would say to that 13-year-old is to follow their dreams, is to know that they can accomplish anything they set their mind to if they're willing to put the work in it takes to accomplish that dream and that goal that they may have. You have to find your village, find the people that are going to tell you what you want to hear, but also be willing to tell you what you don't want to hear, because that's ultimately what's going to make you better. And to pursue anything that when you wake up every day keeps you going and you're like, I want to do that. I want to accomplish that. I think for me, I've always written down my goals and my dreams that I've had. And when I have a goal and a dream, I'm not going to rest until I accomplish it, which sometimes is not a good thing. But that's what I would say to those kids.
Yeah, it's cool hearing you say that. I think when you say have fun, like sometimes that can be like a little bit misconstrued in sports. And Lyndsey and I have talked a lot about this on the podcast. Like all of the best players that I know, like have fun putting in the work. Especially on like the guys that I know, the best players. And I think that like a lot of parents and kids think like, oh, have fun means like you just kind of go around and mess around. But to get to the level that you do, what I've noticed for anyone to play as long as you have is like you enjoy the work every day. And there's certain players who just put in the work because they know they have to. But the players who get really good and play as long as you do actually like enjoy that process on a day in and day out basis.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. And I think you enjoy the breakthrough. You enjoy, working at something with your shot and working at it. And it might be 3 months later and you accomplished it and you're like, oh, that was so much fun. But 3 months leading up, it's like you didn't quit. It might be boring, it might be methodical, it might be hard, but it's that to me is fun. And then seeing that breakthrough and accomplishing that, like to your point, it's the everyday process. It's for people who are going to tune into the Olympics, it's not every 4 years, it's every day. It's an everyday process. And I think I said this earlier, but my parents weren't waking me up to go to hockey. I was waking them up. People growing up would be like, why are you making her play hockey? Because there weren't many girls playing it back 30 years ago. And my parents were like, you go talk to her. She's making us be here. Like we signed her up. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. And it was just that intrinsic love for the sport that has driven me to be where I'm at today.
I love that. Now I know you're super busy. Do you guys have practice today?
Yeah.
All right, fine. I have one more softball one that I want to get invited to his house to play pickleball this summer. So what makes Kenny Klee such a good coach?
Wait, he has a pickleball court in his house?
Yes. He's fancy now. He likes to act like he's still a man of the people, but no, he's got a brand new house with a nice pickleball court. And his wife's actually way better than he is as well. But no, I seriously want to know because, he's won back-to-back since he came into the league. It seems like every player who's ever played for him loves him. And you've played for so many coaches. What's unique about his coaching style that maybe some young coaches who are listening to this could take some things away from?
Yeah, and I think look at his record too with the US team. I think we won like 3 straight. We lost maybe 3 games total in a handful of years. But I think first and foremost, it starts with caring about the player as a person first. Calling, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Just as of last night, hey, we have skills today. How are you feeling? How's your body doing? Like, you think you're up for it? Instead of just assuming signing me up for it, or, just definitely cares about us as people first. And it makes you want to go out there and play for him. And then I think going back to what I said before is, having a role and knowing that role, communicating that role, understanding that role, and being coached through that role. It goes a long way. But I think it starts with caring about the player as a person first and a hockey player second.
Yeah, and I think that's something that young coaches should really listen to and take away from. Because like you said, as long as you do that, regardless of the role that you have players in, they'll want to play hard for you. And it's clear that with your guys' level of success, that it's not easy to make everyone like you, whether you're the first line player or the fourth line player. But if you care about the athlete as a person, everyone's going to want to win for you.
Yeah, well said.
All right, couple rapid fire questions before I let you go. This is going to be a hard one. Your all-time starting 5. You're not allowed to put yourself in. Actually, we'll put you in there. Let's put you in there. So you have to fill out the rest of your first line from all of your USA Hockey Olympic teams. Who are you throwing in that lineup?
Like current or former?
No, current or former. So you get to pick from any generation. You just got to fill out the other 4 players that you get to touch the ice with for the opening puck drop. Who would they be?
Oh,
So you get 2 other forwards and 2 defense.
I have to play. Like I had to play with them. Like I can't say Cammy Granato.
No, you could say Cammy. Yeah, Cammy would be a great one.
Okay. Okay. So Cammy and Hillary.
Okay.
Angela.
Okay.
Lee Steckline and Aaron Frankel.
I love it. We have a couple young athletes who are going to ask you a couple quick rapid fire questions. Let's turn it over to them.
What kept you motivated in all your years of hockey?
My love for the game kept me motivated in all my years of hockey.
Do you have any pregame superstitions?
I do not have any pregame superstitions other than I just take my stick. I learned from a young age that there's a lot of things that you can't control going into a game. So any superstitions went right out the window.
What was your favorite team you played with growing up?
My favorite team I played with growing up would probably be the Chicago Mission. But I grew up a big Blackhawks fan.
I just want to say this was so cool for me to be able to interview you. Like I said, there's so many young USA hockey players who look up to you. I know that you're on top of being a mom, writing a book, getting ready for the Olympics, and have 3 more games before break. We appreciate you doing this. You're obviously one of the biggest kind of drivers of women's hockey in the game today. And I'm wishing you all the best in the Olympics. I look forward to watching your success.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, Drew, I'm sure, as always, just an amazing conversation with Kendall. Unfortunately, as you know, I was not able to be there for the actual conversation with her. I was flying home from a tournament, coaching my team back east. But for you, just what were the biggest takeaways talking to Kendall and getting to know her a little bit?
Well, the first thing for me is it fired me up for the Olympics. It sounds like she and the rest of the Team USA squad are ready to go. And she's been, this will be her 4th Olympics, and you never know how long an athlete has left in her, but it seems like she's just as motivated for this one as she was her first one 10 years ago.
Yeah, that woman does not lack motivation. And I think just even seeing, the people in my life going through pregnancy and what it takes to bounce back from that. That alone, like the fact that some of these women, multiple women that are playing in the Olympics this go around have been able to do that, take care of their kid, get their bodies back to peak condition and be able to go out and compete is just like a different level of incredible that I can hardly wrap my head around. But you add that to just like how competitive she is. And, you never know. I mean, I would not write it off as this is her last kick at the can, but I know that she is certainly hungry for gold. She doesn't like to accept anything less than that, and it's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think she talked about it. I was kind of asking what her travel plans and stuff were going over there, but she said she wanted to make sure she at least had one more Olympics in her as a mom, and was really doing it to kind of bring the whole family over there and hopefully win gold. I thought was really cool. And I know that you've known her for so many years now. You've kind of seen her. You guys played U18 together. Now you've known her for, I think, over 20 years now. And she's talked a lot about how her leadership has evolved over the years due to so many great teammates and coaches. And what do you think the biggest thing you've seen from her in terms of her transformation as a player and leader over the last several years?
Well, I think the one thing that's never changed is just her work ethic and her willingness to lead by example. I mean, she's definitely like, when I played with her and growing up with her, like she never was the loudest person in the room by any means, but she was the one that was just all out every single drill, whether it was something fun and we were playing a game or whether it was a conditioning drill. Like there was no off switch for her. And when you see that and you're constantly around that, like you feed off of it, and it's fuel for you as a player. And it kind of gives you that like no excuse mentality. If one of our fastest top blind players is going all out every single shift, like there's no reason for me to take my foot off the gas pedal. So I think that's something that's been constant. And obviously as she's gotten older and has become a veteran on the team and her role has evolved, I think the importance of that constant is just so critical. And I think people still continue to feed off of it, maybe in an even more impactful way. I think for me, it's definitely just like the self-confidence and how she carries herself and how she speaks as a leader, I think is something that has really been a cool evolution for me to watch really from afar. I mean, I'm not in the locker room with her on a daily basis by any means, but I see her kind of every couple of years at these different really critical points in time in her career and very public points in time, whether it be going on an NHL broadcast, whether it be everything she was fighting for with the PWHPA and now the PWHL, being a captain on that team, being a captain for Team USA. Like I kind of see it in these moments over longer periods of time, and just the way that she has, I think, gotten more confident standing up for what she believes in, more confident being able to use her voice, more confident just being able to be that force and be that presence as a leader is something that's really cool. And again, like you talked about, it's not just impacting the team in the room and the team that we see on the ice. It's literally trickling down all the way to the grassroots and changing the way we see the game. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you guys had a chance to talk about this, but she made her voice acting debut in Inside Out 2 throughout that whole time. So she's just multi-dimensional, that Kendall Coyne.
No, we talked about her new role as an author with her new book that just got released, but we did not talk about her acting debut. I definitely should have brought that up. But I thought one of the coolest things for me, especially during my career, is, I mean, I was just trying to not get scored on in the 12 or 13 minutes I was on the ice at the NHL level. And she was really focused on truly leaving the game of hockey for women better than she found it. And she talked a lot about how she's done everything she can, and she's obviously had a lot of success doing that. So I think hearing that from her perspective was one of the coolest parts of the interview for me.
Well, and I think the cool thing too is we're talking about her longevity as a player, but her longevity as an advocate for that exact cause, that's not slowing down anytime soon. I mean, I've served with her on USA Hockey Congress as an athlete representative. This is a woman who does not have a lot of free time, but still is doing anything and everything she can to fight for the young girls and the next generation and everything that we advocate for on this podcast. So I'm confident that no matter what the next step is, whenever she decides to hang them up, is going to be something incredibly impactful for years and years to come. And I feel so lucky to call her a friend and a former teammate. And I'm so thankful for all the young girls, including my daughter, your daughter, who are going to be coming up through the ranks and benefit from the work that she's been doing for so many years and so many years to come.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, it seems like success just follows her everywhere she goes. I mean, since entering kind of the PWHL, they've won back-to-back. I hope they win this year at the Olympics, but I encourage any of our listeners to not only follow along her Olympic journey, but also check out her new book, As Fast as Her. I demanded during the interview that I get a free copy sent to my house, so I'll be sure to read it. And I'm excited to keep this podcast rolling next week.
Absolutely. We're going to have a great time, and I look forward to being on the interview with you next week, Drew. I'll have some fun and toss it around a little bit.
Yep. Awesome. And next week, we are going to be highlighting our pond hockey tournament, which I'm going to let you talk a little bit about.
Yeah, Pond is a really, really fun event for our adults. It's the 19th time that they've hosted this event, and it's going to be in Eagle River, Wisconsin. It's the USA Hockey National Pond Tournament, and sponsored by Long Drink, and it's going to be just a really great time. So can't wait to hear about everything going on with Pond, all those people up there that are going to be freezing but having a ton of fun while they're out there and playing and just loving the game.
Awesome. Can't wait for that episode. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the USA Hockey Next Gen podcast. Be sure to subscribe, share, and follow us for more stories that inspire the future of the game. Until next time, keep skating forward and growing the game one stride at a time.